I'm going to go into a bit like the quiz nights and things that you host, because obviously you host them the most.
Yeah.
Right?
It's definitely not for camera. And it
Fine.
goes completely off the rails.
It does.
One of the most popular rounds that we do every year is I will dig up as much dirt as I can from people's Facebook
I got told about
from
this.
like 10 years ago.
But 10
The
years
challenge that I've got now...
Edit that out. That is not made. We're fucking live.
We're not live! It's not like streaming! We're not live on Twitch!
Obviously...
What is Twitch?
Yeah,
That's it.
Cut. What the hell is that? Sorry, that is not going anywhere. That's not even a blooper. That's not even a blooper.
I don't know what he was trying to say.
Do you want me?
Yeah.
Okay, who's going to be talking first?
I'll talk first because he's just going to laugh.
I'm not going to laugh.
Yeah.
A bit longer than I thought. Edit that out. That is not made.
Hi, I'm here with Alfie and Adam. Today we're talking about their journeys at Darwin and a bit about the culture. If you just want to give yourself a bit of an intro, what you do and how you're finding it.
Sure, yeah. Adam managed the space team. I joined 10 years ago this November. So yeah, jumped around a little bit, built the space team up about 3.5, 4 years ago. And yeah, Alf jumped ship and joined us, about
Probably about
6 months ago?
Yeah, 6 months ago now. So I've been at Darwin for the last 5 years as of March. And yeah, as Adam was saying, the space team was really starting to take off, if you pardon the pun, and it made sense to jump ship over. And yeah, it was a very, very good decision so far.
Were you always in space, or did you both join something different?
No, so space didn't exist. When I joined, it was Darwin was pretty much exclusively a software recruitment company.
Yeah.
And cut a long story short, rode through the COVID wave. Everybody realised that you can hire software developers remotely, so the demand massively increased for like 6 months. And then a lot of companies realised, well, if we hire loads of people remotely, we probably don't need recruiters to help us find them.
Yeah.
So the demand kind of really dropped off as a result. So I used to manage what was our Munich office, and basically went from a team of 7 or 8 people to a team of 1 within like 6 months. The one being just me, and kind of realised, right, I need to figure out what I'm going to do. I had a idea of what I wanted to move into, had a couple of markets in mind, put some feelers out there, and space was one of them, and basically just thought, right, I'm just going to find 100 business owners and CEOs in the space industry, and I'm going to message them and say, hey, I recruit for space, do you need support?
Yeah.
And if the 100 people I messaged, I maybe had like 30 people come back to me like, yes please.
Right.
So
responses like
the demand,
you've never seen before.
yeah,
Really.
the demand was through the roof. So thought, okay, there's heat there, let's jump at it, and I did. And yeah, fast forward to now, we've got a team of 7, smashing the US and Europe. Yeah, absolutely flying.
Did you both work in recruitment before Darwin?
No,
Or was this
I
Darwin through and through, aren't you?
I didn't even know what recruitment was before I joined Darwin.
Oh really?
So I went to uni and spent 3 years and about 30 grand on a criminology degree.
Yeah.
Which I'm very clearly obviously now using. But I finished that and saw the student loans and thought, right, I need to start making money quickly. So I basically ended up doing like a sales job for 2 years.
Yeah.
Which was fine, but I never really enjoyed it. But I got a company car and I thought that was really cool at the time.
Yeah.
And then that kind of wore off. And I knew about 3 or 4 people that worked here because of the fact that a handful of us all used to work together at David Lloyd down the road. And messaged one of them, who was Hayden, messaged Hayden to say, hey, you work in recruitment, can you help me find a job? And he just replied saying like, yeah, just come work here.
Oh.
And I was
Easy,
like,
yeah.
all right. And yeah, 10 years later, here we are.
I left sixth form, just with sort of no real career aspirations. It was just, I just want to start earning money. Fell into like a temp role. I was actually used by an agency, really. Then sort of that came to an end pretty quick. It was only like a 3-month contract. Then went to a rec to rec without realising they was a rec to rec. Spent 2.5 years doing finance recruitment. That was just in the UK. And a friend of mine that I've become very close with at that firm actually knew people here at Darwin. He left, I think, the month before, just before COVID. Right. So yeah, his timing wasn't the greatest, but we sort of stayed in touch, and he then reached out, and his boss at the time, Jamie, he sort of stayed in touch with me over the months. And during COVID times, to change job was a bit, it was sort of tricky.
When Alfie joined, it was like the height of the COVID era.
Yeah.
So everyone was working from home, but there was like 4 of us that were in the office. Me being one of them, because when I was still living at home at the time, and my bedroom, like Harry Potter's covered under the stairs, put me to shame. Like it got to a point where I could touch all 4 walls of my bedroom at the same time. So I was one of the few where they were like, look, as the world started to get a bit better again, and they started to allow people to leave their homes, they allowed like a select few of us to come in the office.
Right.
We had to have like, there were banks of 10 desks, but you could only have like one person on every bank at the time.
Right.
And there was maybe 5 of us.
Yeah, I would say, I think on my first day
on the sales floor.
On my first day when I came in, I think it was someone in marketing. It was yourself.
Yeah.
And then maybe 2 or 3 other consultants.
I remember Alfie walking in, I was like, I thought there was more people that worked
this. No, I quickly then stayed in touch, interviewed with the guys all remotely, which was a really smooth and easy process. Yeah, the rest is history. I started, March 2021, half a dozen people in the office. Yeah. Slowly but surely things started to return back to normal. Started to meet a new bunch of people, and been here ever since, I suppose. Can't get rid of me now.
What made you originally choose Darwin? Was there anything that stood out to you at the time? Obviously, I don't know what it was like back then.
Yeah, I mean, back then.
I was
going to say back then.
Back in the old times.
There's been many eras of Darwin that I've known. I think when I joined, that was sort of at the back end of an era, and then a new era sort of started then. I mean, my friend that worked here saw success quite quickly. He saw it was a complete change in culture. It wasn't that toxic sort of city vibe where it's like you're just a number, and if you have a bad few months, you're gone. Yeah, it was it was a breath of fresh air. It was an environment where you were allowed and given the time to develop yourself. There was a lot of, I wouldn't say it was relaxed, because obviously what we do is quite it's target driven. It's the right people are going to work hard, but there was no micromanagement. There was people that genuinely wanted to help, which there still is now, by the way. It's not changed that much, but that was what drew me in, and the potential to launch something new, build from scratch. Obviously seemed daunting at the time, but with the support we were given, I mean, you must have done it for the guys that you hired at the same sort of time as.
Hired a lot of people. Doesn't always work out, but for the most part, the hiring that we've done for the team right now is great.
Yeah.
So that's internal as well as external. Yeah, no, I mean, Darwin is, somebody that's been here for coming up to 10 years now, probably one of the older, not just age, but older serving employees on the sales floor. And we've certainly seen, kind of mindset shifts, but also market shifts over the years, for the better as well. Like even our markets now, right? Like I spent the first 4 years recruiting software jobs, which is fine. Software development is huge. But as a recruiter, it helps so much more if you feel passionate, engaged about the industry you're recruiting for. Yeah. I was working for companies who, important companies that were building like online banking platforms, online shopping platforms, and sure, those types of companies are really important. Now I can say, like, I'm working for companies who build satellites that communicate with lasers that allows the Artemis 2, for example, that's in space going around the moon right now, is communicating with the Earth via laser communication. We work with companies that build that type of technology.
And rockets.
We
build with companies that build rockets.
One of our biggest customers are building, rockets that take satellites into space. And I think one of the bigger attractions of the team, but as well as the markets that we're investing in across the sales floor, is that even from a recruitment perspective, they're really engaging. It's easy to find an extra gear to want to be successful in these markets, because the markets that we're in are really exciting.
There's so many branches of space that are all really, really exciting and interesting and growing at their own rate, and at their own, it's not always the rocket manufacturers that are the most interesting. That's just, that's probably 5-year-old me thinking back to, rockets as a child and, playing with toy NASA or whatever.
We've been doing this for 3 years, and we recruit for positions that didn't exist 3 years ago. It's constantly evolving, and genuinely believe that the data, the trends, the statistics, both here internally as well as externally, point to the fact that space will be one of, if not like the biggest recruitment markets in the next 5 to 10 years.
It's and I think the possibilities of what space can, we're seeing a lot of crossover with space and defence. These companies that are now branching out and growing their revenues massively, and then the crossover that you're getting with AI. Obviously, you can't talk about anything about AI, but the crossover opportunities from software companies to apply that to space, to then, I don't know, super duper robots that are going to occupy the ships and fly them themselves. Who knows? But there's a lot of things to be excited about. I think the companies that we're working with are, although they might be established, there might be some that are startups. They're all growing. There's not you're not going to hit a ceiling anytime soon.
No.
Again, that could be a pun. We're not going to hit a ceiling because you're going up in space, but who knows? So no, it's true. but
it never ends.
Obviously, I've only been here for about 2 months now, but I'd say we're a very close company, and like teams, not just in their own teams as well. What's your take on the culture?
Oh gosh, I mean, there's probably only so much we can say. No, look, to Alf's point earlier, a lot of us here are, as close as colleagues as we are friends. Yeah. Alf's a groomsman at my wedding in a couple of months. Sorry ladies. The culture is a huge part of what we do, and we put a lot of value on the relationships that we have here. Relationships is one of our core values. In the nicest way possible, we have a no policy. One of the biggest things that we do are, we do our company events, we do our corporate drinks when we've had a successful month, and we do our lunch clubs and
sports days.
Even like, if I am not able to go on a lunch club for whatever reason, it feels like I'm having to watch like all my friends are going out without me.
Like FOMO, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. So it again, talking about if you're one deal away from hitting a lunch club and you can see all of the people that have already qualified, you're like, I'm getting on this.
Yeah, I need to make it.
I want to be on this.
Yeah.
Because like I don't want to feel like I'm having to watch everyone go out without me. I mean, I do our quiz every year, which maybe 80% isn't for camera, but the most part, it's one of the biggest things that like everybody looks forwards to it.
Arguably over the Christmas party.
Yeah.
I don't know if people
quite
want to
a
hear
few
that,
people
but
said that to me.
The quiz is outrageous.
Over Christmas,
he does a great job at embarrassing people, bringing in general knowledge, guessing who said this. Did I say embarrassing people?
Yeah, and
probably a lot of forfeits.
Probably saying it twice is right. It's one of those things where like people look forward to it for months.
Yeah.
But not because of the event, but because of the social interactions and the cultural side of it, and the fact that like it is like a huge thing that everybody, like people will actively go out of their way to be like, right, I'm not missing this. And it is the same for our Christmas parties, our AGMs, all of our corporate events. For those reasons.
Yeah.
We're all so close to each other. And not only, is that great for social, stuff, but it also helps in a sense of we want each other here to do as well as possible.
Yeah.
Like, if you see someone not performing at their best, or you see someone working their arse off but they're not hitting the results, you feel obligated to want to help that person. Whilst we are success driven, we are not ego driven. What you don't see are people looking down at other people thinking I'm better than you. What you do see are people who are doing really, really good things and offering an olive branch out to someone to say, hey, let's chat and let's try and figure out how we can get you to the next
But
level.
also on the flip side as well, I think that's a big thing. I've been in situations like this myself. I'm sure everybody has, where you're a bit down in the dumps. And
The
you are seeing
recruitment
other
roller
people.
coaster, as we call it.
Exactly, and you're seeing other people, right at the top, and that some people would sit there and be like, "Oh, I'm so jealous," blah blah blah. Which isn't. I don't think it's a bad thing. You want to strive to be successful, but at the same time, you're in a position where you can approach people, and you're not going to get, "Oh, you're just a pauper. I'm a king or queen or whatever. I'm high up on the leaderboard." That isn't a thing. I think I would actually second that. I remember at firms that I went into and interviewed, you could just look and tell, just by looking, not speaking. I think if someone from the outside came into Darwin, whether it's during on the sales floor, during core hours, or during our breaks or lunch, you would not be able to tell.
There is always something new to learn. There is always something you can do better. There is always something that you can try. And I think in many ways, using the example of setting up the space team, I also had the option to try and crack on and push through with software. Yeah. But just felt like it was time to switch up and do something new. And it's been the best decision I've ever done. Now have, humble brag, reached the Millionaires Club. So,
I was waiting for that. That took
Yeah.
a bit longer than I thought.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to wear a badge that had it on there.
Right.
I left it at home. No, so, but I put that down to the fact, and I'm not ashamed to say it, the last 3 years for me have been more successful than maybe the first 7.
Yeah.
I'm a West Ham fan, right? Bang average. Well, this year we've been below average. Yeah, but my point was, my recruitment career, I suppose, followed suit. Look, I was never top biller, but I was never facing relegation. I was always all right.
Yeah.
100, 150 grand a year, which at the time I felt great. But as you grow and as you grow in seniority, the bar you set for yourself continues to rise, and you look back now and you're like I'm looking at how much more I can do. We're in a position now where we're expecting our top perm billers to be touching 500-600k this year.
Yeah.
But you need to be, in many ways, willing to look outside of yourself and think, right, what can I do to get to the next level? And I think that's what we're really good at doing.
Yeah. That's what I mean. That was the reason. One of the main reasons I joined in the first place was, I keep talking about the ceiling, but there is genuinely no ceiling.
Our entire management team, myself included, our entire management team, I think maybe bar one, all joined Darwin as recruitment consultants.
Yeah, I think it's only Taz. I think Taz said that he was the only one who started as
Taz
manager.
is the only one that came in with experience. But me, all the senior leadership team, Joe, who has just been promoted to associate director. Yeah. Joined as a recruitment consultant. Yeah. I joined as a recruitment consultant, now managing client partner. Mike joined as a recruitment consultant. He's now managing director.
Yeah.
There's always steps to find. And I think that we're quite fluid. We used to be vertically organised. Then we were geographically organised.
Right.
Then we were, during COVID, we was just doing anything that we could. So the organisation kind of disappeared. But off the back of that, we almost really organically found homes for ourselves. Me falling into space. The other industries that we're now very heavily involved in, engineering, maritime, quantum, AI. 5 to 10 years ago, none of those words existed. Yeah. For people like Alf, if our space team continues to grow as long as it can, who's to say that one day we'll be like, right, Alf, you're now managing the European space business unit. That role doesn't exist right now, but who's to say it doesn't in 2 years' time? What
would you say, obviously you've been here for quite a long time, for someone joining or looking to join Darwin, what piece of advice would you give them?
I think that really depends on what they're looking to join for, right? If you are someone who has been recruiting for 6 years, and you've hit a wall, or you don't feel like you're gaining any further success, then I think that what we're able to do is enable people, like Alfie said a couple of times, to bring their existing experience with them, but find a lane that allows them to overtake where they would have been if they stayed put.
Yeah.
Now, for somebody that has never done recruitment before, and for the most part, there's a good amount of people downstairs, who are in their first recruitment roles.
Yeah.
I'm technically in my first recruitment role. I do not know what recruitment looks like outside of these four walls.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't have got here if it wasn't for the support and the encouragement that I have received over the last 10 plus years.
Yeah.
The guidance. It was very clear from day one, okay, you want to get to exec, you need to do this. You want to get to senior, now this is what you need to do. You want to get to principal, this is what you need to do. I think that the fact that we can say, well, ask any manager what they joined Darwin as.
Yeah. Speaks levels,
like
doesn't it?
them, same level as they will be
internal case studies, isn't there?
Yeah, for sure. The benefit of that is that we have all been in the position that person joining on day one has been in. So maybe what we have is a better understanding of, look, it's not going to work immediately.
Yeah.
I didn't do my first placement for 9 months. What I can do is kind of hopefully teach you everything I've learned over the last 10 years to make sure that your first placement doesn't take 9 months, takes 3 months. And we've seen that now on the team. Our two newest guys within probation, done their first placements within 3 and 4 months.
Big thing about when I joined, and I think this was just not just within the team that I joined, it was a company ethos of not chasing the outcome. Of course we want the outcome, but we work backwards from the outcome. How do we get there? What does, if we fast forward, how do we get to this point? That's something that I think a lot of people, if they are going to come in, one piece of advice I would have is probably echoing what you've just said about, it might not happen straight away. It's doing the right things. It's doing the basics very, very well. It's being creative in the right points, points of time, finding the heat, doubling down on things that do work, and then the rewards will come. It happens quickly for some people, and then you see them fall off a cliff, which we've seen from people that have joined and then are no longer here. But yeah, I think people that want a stable career path, growth opportunities, quite easily accessible if you're doing the right things. I think just need to sit back, be inspired by who is here, learn from the people that you want to try and mould their style into yours, and there's enough people to do that. There's a lot of different ways of working here. Being
inspired, I suppose, just comes from the fact that all of the management team, at least, all lead by example. In a sense of, we do not have, myself included, there is no manager on our sales floor that exclusively manages that isn't also trying to build themselves. Every single person we have in a management role is a hands-on recruiter,
right,
as well as a manager. So sometimes the best thing I might be able to do is do the typical recruitment role the best way that I know how, so that the people around me can be like, oh, well, this is working really well for him, so why don't I try and do that as well?
No, it's definitely, there's enough people, I think, in this business to soak up, I keep speaking about styles, but some people are really good at one thing, and then I suppose going back to, if you're a new recruit, having that sort of awareness of, okay, he's good at this, I might take that, she's really, really good at that, and that's working for her, maybe how can I apply that to my market? And I think as well, going back to the culture and how open everything is, it's not just you're in this business unit, you have to learn from these guys, and I think you'll agree with that. I think, we had a lot of crossover, when we weren't in each other's team, sharing a lot of different things, we were good at and expressing that. And I think that's a big thing as well for people that are coming in, even if you're sat on the other side of the floor and we might not integrate as often as you would in the team. I think people are in, there's an environment that's been built that allows people to be confident and, they're not nervous to come up and approach people about that.
I think we've got a culture that motivates people to want to be successful. The relationships that we have and the success that you can see from everybody without the egos, just enables you to be like, right, I want a piece of that. And what we do really well is enable people to be like, okay, well, let's get you there.
There's no like fear factor, there's no scaremongering, there's no, those egos that we were saying about earlier, that isn't there, and that's, I think that's a good thing, because you'll get a very jealous, horrible culture that will build if that is, people leading from the top and leading by example, coming in and flashing everything around and acting in a way that you're, you can't speak to me because I'm here and you're there. That just doesn't breed well for a culture moving forward. And it doesn't.
Just to wrap it up, have you got any like personal goals you're looking for?
For me, it's just when's the next million going to come?
God, yeah.
Hopefully not as long as the first one. No, look, the goal for me is always just what's next.
Yeah.
There is no end goal. Who's to say that my business unit one day won't be 30 people, 40 people, 50 people. To Alfie's point earlier, there's no ceiling. Don't need to put a ceiling on it. Let's just see how far we can go. Of course, you can set stepping stones that you want to hit along the way. I want to do X amount a month, I want to do X amount a year. But for me, I suppose this just comes with experience. It's just continue to look at the bigger picture and look back at what you've done well so far and figure out, right, how can we just continue to build on this?
Yeah.
And I think like setting yourself a specific number again is like a not short-term thinking point of view, but what I was saying about you can work backwards. How do you get there? It's then once that's done, you're then wanting to keep going. So I suppose, and this will probably showcase the culture or our journeys, or just Darwin in general, is how Slade's saying about there's no ceiling. There's a continuous thought of what if we could be this, what if we could be that. There's an element of riding the wave, but continuing to be motivated. Obviously him stepping into a new business unit, starting that from scratch, probably wasn't on his to-do list. If you'd asked him that a year before he did so, he might have said an answer of a number that he wanted to achieve, which I probably would have. But now I think we're in these new spaces, pardon the pun, we're at a point now where growth will just continue, and that's really, really exciting. What is it? Collaborate and evolve.
That's it.
That's the ethos of Darwin, I suppose, or is that?
What a note to finish on.
Yeah, that is.
Yeah.
Collaborate and
Such
evolve.
a wrap-up.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. I'm going to crack into this now because I'm really
Like you
thirsty.
deserve
There was
it.
a lot of talking. No, do you know what happened? I booted that when I like
From a mile away.